Hello and welcome to the July 2015 Gaia update. I'm Adrienne Elise. Well, July is really intense. There's so many aspects going on, but they also center around one axis, which is this Cancer Capricorn axis. We started out the month with a powerful full moon in Capricorn on the first of the month, and that highlighted this Cancer Capricorn axis. And so this is where a lot of the action is occurring. But first of all, this first week of July is really powerful lining up energy with Venus and Jupiter coming together. And we've been watching this dramatic over the last month in the evening sky as Venus has been approaching Jupiter. They're both in Leo. Now, Leo is the sign of expression of the self. And this aspect in the zodiac of Venus and Jupiter coming into an exact conjunction where they become one point of light into the naked eye. That happened on July 1st, right there with that full moon. And so really triggering this Cancer Capricorn axis. But Jupiter and Venus coming together is one of the most luckiest, amazing lining up. It's called the Star of Bethlehem because these are our two brightest planets. And as they come together in the sky very visibly, it's a very powerful lining up. Now, put that with Uranus and Aries. These planets are also trining Uranus and Aries. And Uranus and Jupiter in a trine is about synchronicity, lining up, luck, love is tied in there with the Venus there. And so we're having this incredible lining up in the sky, in the Star of Bethlehem, which first of all announced to the Magi that the Christ child had been born and then guided them to Bethlehem. And so what is this aspect in our life? This is announcing the arrival of the Christ consciousness in our life if we choose to awaken to it. And what is that about? That's what the July astrology is showing us. First of all, we have all of these planets that will be moving into at the middle of the month in Cancer, joining the sun. And that will happen also with the new moon in Cancer, right at the middle of the month. So the new moon, the sun, Mercury, and Mars, all there in Cancer together and opposing Pluto in Capricorn. So this is really triggering this axis of Cancer Capricorn. And what is that about? It's about our inner authority and our outer authority, our structures of our life, and in the Capricorn energy. And then we've got Cancer energy, which is home, security, nurturing, family. And so we're really having a pull with these energies. Now, Mercury being in Cancer with all these planets having just had a retrograde cycle in Gemini is bringing us a lot of information. It's just at the end of June that Mercury came out of the shadow, which means that it returned to the position that it was in before it went retrograde. So we're just now gleaning the information, the insights, and the revelations that have been come through this whole spring, through the eclipse cycle, and then two Mercury retrogrades, one in Aquarius and one in Gemini. And so there is this incredible lining up. And so what is it saying? The sun, the moon, Mercury, Mars, all there in Cancer. Now, Mars is our action forward planet, our wanting to go for it, the male part of ourselves, the warrior part of ourselves. Now, Mars does not have a retrograde this year, so it's really ready to move ahead. And of course, I'm building something new. It's right there with the sun and Mercury. So Mercury with the messenger, with these information about what's really going on in our life, coming to terms with the truth, getting the truth of who we really are. Leo, with that Venus and Jupiter in Leo, wants to express the truth of who we are. But who are we? And that's what we're figuring out. Well, the sun is our identity. So right there with Mars and Mercury, our main action planets, it's saying, okay, gather the information, get ready to move, get ready to express. But how do we move forward? How do we find our new identity? That's that Uranus and Aries, the revolution in the identity, the revolution in the self, the rebirth, the child within, coming into our new spiritual identity. That's what this time is all about. And so now it's time to integrate that information and figure out how we want to move forward with it. And Mars is ready to go, but all these planets opposing Capricorn Pluto in Capricorn, and Pluto is retrograde. And that energy is saying, wait a minute, have we gotten rid of what's weighing us down? And so the backdrop of this lining up and gearing up and let's go with our new identity, the backdrop behind all this is basically Pluto and Chiron, or Neptune and Chiron, both in Pisces, went retrograde last month. And we also have Saturn retrograde, Pluto retrograde, and this month Uranus and Venus are both going to turn retrograde. So by the end of July, we have a lot of planets in retrograde. Now that is the backdrop of what's going on with those bigger planets, and it's also an inward journey when these planets are retrograde. And so the backdrop of all of this is Saturn going back into Scorpio, and that happens until September. But there's going to be a big shift on August 3rd when Saturn goes direct again. And that's when we're going to really feel like we're ready to leap forward. And so basically, we have also that Chiron and Neptune retrograde. And these planets are coming up. All of these planets come up and make a trine with Chiron after they oppose Pluto. And then they trine Uranus. They also, square Uranus, but they trine Chiron and then trine Saturn. Now, Saturn is our worker duty reality check planet. And so Saturn's saying, show me the money, what's going on, what's really happening here. And so the backdrop is that we have to take a fine-tooth comb, really look at this inner shadow, this stuff that, what have we left behind? And what we've left behind is usually compensated into one small little piece, and that is our core issues. And so that's really what's coming up for people right now, intense bloom of core issues. But at the same time, we have that lining up, that beautiful synchronicity, the messages coming through, the luck and the love and the compassion. And so this is the main energy here about how we move forward in this time. We have to take a fine-tooth comb to that shadow, find what we're missing, find that rock in our shoe that is like what keeps us creating the same patterns over and over again. We've got to do that. But in order to do that, in order to move forward, Mars, the Sun, and Mercury are all showing us that we need this Cancer energy. We need nurturing. We need to understand how to nurture ourselves. And this is a key thing with the Sun and these power and Mars there in Cancer this month with that opposition to Pluto, square Uranus, trining Saturn, trining Chiron. It's like nurturing. What if the key to our empowerment is nurturing? And so this is the self-compassion, the Cancer energy that we need to, the energy of human, the definition of human, even though we've been led to believe otherwise, the definition of human is compassion, is caring for each other. That's the truth of who we are. But we can't care for each other until our needs are met. And so many of us, there's such this gap in this world that we're living in between the rich and the poor, between the haves and the have-nots. And it's this energy of resentment and aggravation and a lot of people not getting their basic needs met. And that is an incredible, intense energy that's keeping us from moving forward. So how do we solve that on the planet? We start with ourselves. We begin to nurture ourselves back into receiving what we need from this world, letting Mother Earth love us, refinding that connection to Mother Earth. And because Mother Earth regenerates herself again and again and again. Her message to us is that this reality is abundant. And we've been tricked into thinking something different, and our power has been used against us. So now it's time to take that back. And the ironic thing is that Mars, our fighter planet, our warrior planet, time to take it back. What do you do? Mars there in Cancer is saying you empower yourself through nurturing yourself, through caring for yourself, through making sure your needs are met so that you're available for your neighbors, for the community, the people around you. And this is a radical action. Uranus is the rebel, and there in Aries, it's this rebirth of the self. Who are we in this world of this age of Aquarius that we're moving into? And we are coming into, first of all, that Chiron, Neptune energy in Pisces, the truths, the uncomfortable truths of our past and the manipulation that we've allowed in our lives, individually and collectively on the planet. We have to look at these hard truths before we can really jet off into a new future. And we need compassion and caring to be able to do that. But we also have to stand up strong. So the revolution that's called for is a nurturing revolution, a nurturing revolution that connects us back to Mother Earth. So we can stand up and say, this is not feeling good anymore. And, we've had our blinders on for a while and it was fine and we could just pretend that, this stuff wasn't necessarily going on, but we are living in a globally connected world now, and that's part of our evolution, and it's a beautiful thing, and the internet is helping us find that Aquarian connection, the technology of the whole of humanity. But as we do that, as we raise our consciousness, we have to kind of face the fact that there's shadowy parts of our collective consciousness, and of course that's going to reflect within us too, that are just not okay and don't feel right. And so many of us are just going through life in survival mode, and we can't stand up and take back our earth until we actually feel cared for. So we're kind of like rebellious and angry that things aren't going our way, and negative forces seem to be kind of interfering with the way we'd like to see our world. But it's not a fight in the battle on the battlefield. Mars's fight at this point is a fight to stand up for our basic needs, for the nurturing that we all need on the planet. And what would this world look like if everyone's basic needs were met? And we know that's possible with the technology that's available. And what would it feel like and look like on this planet if we all felt cared for, if we were caring for each other, if we made our environment a place that was nurturing, we allowed the connection to Mother Earth to feel cared for. So this is the energy of Cancer, and this is of this month and this Cancer month. Lots of planets and water signs. So that means a lot of emotions, especially as we're called to go back and take a fine-tooth comb on that shadow work. So as we clear our own shadow, our own negative thinking, then that we also clear that out of the collective. So remember how powerful this work is. Even when things get really intense, just know that you're taking one for the team. You're really helping out by being present and being aware and dealing with what you're dealing with. And there is support available. As we get healthier, we're going to find it more and more that we can support and nurture and care for ourselves through this transition and create that golden age on Earth that is our birthright, why we incarnated here, why we want to be here right now, is we're creating this amazing new world. Super exciting. But in the meantime, help yourself process these emotions, be in nature, running water, writing, exercise, anything, creative expression on any level to keep this energy moving, because you can use this water energy to move these stuck emotions that may have been keeping that core issue, the information you need, from being revealed, because it's too scary to go into those emotions. And we don't really have a choice this month. We're going to be feeling some stuff moving. So let it move, support the movement, and know that you're clearing the way for a whole new future and preparing for that next catapult forward that we're going to begin to feel as Saturn goes direct at the beginning of August. So blessings on your journey. The new moon in Cancer at the middle of the month really highlights all of this new. And what is new? What are we bringing to the earth? It's a new nurturing. It's a new ownership of what it means to be human and taking care of each other. So thanks for being on the team, and I look forward to next time. Blessings on your journey. I'm Adrienne Elise with the Gaia Update. Namaste.